Good morning. My name is Jen DeMudd, and I am with the Manufacturing Growth Alliance. Our mission is to support small manufacturers across the state. Thank you for being part of today's conversation. Digital technologies are impacting all manufacturers. The pandemic has accelerated the need for small to medium manufacturers to learn, access resources, and implement Industry 4.0 technologies to solve workforce challenges, increase efficiencies, and stay competitive. We have a full agenda for you this morning. We will hear from a number of organizations who are paving the path for small manufacturers to become equipped to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies. We will also hear from a manufacturer in Southwest Michigan about their journey in Industry 4.0. Our presenters will take about 40 to 45 minutes in total to share. You can place any questions you have in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and we will be sure to review and answer those questions by the close of our conversation today. Just a reminder, we are recording the conversation so we can make this information available to those who registered, as well as other small to medium manufacturers in Southwest Michigan. First on the agenda is Natalie Chimico, Vice President of Pure Michigan Business Connect and International Trade at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. She will share insights into Michigan's Industry 4.0 initiative. Thank you for being here, Natalie.
Thanks, Jen. Good morning, and thanks for having me. So today I'm here to discuss an exciting new multi-pronged initiative that was launched at the state level to support Michigan small and medium-sized manufacturers to become Industry 4.0 ready. Next slide. As you already know, around the globe, Michigan is synonymous with manufacturing, but in order for Michigan to remain competitive and successful in the future of manufacturing, we must be the most advanced and productive by positioning our workforce and our companies at the forefront of technology. And during our statewide economic development strategic planning process back in 2019, we recognized that we need to prepare our small and medium-sized manufacturers for the digital transformation that is already underway. And as Jen said, since the pandemic, this has only accelerated the need for the transformation. Next slide. One more, thanks. In the national study shown here, only 12% of small and medium-sized manufacturers said they were very prepared to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies, with the remaining saying that they were somewhat prepared, a little prepared, or not prepared at all. This presents a big problem when it comes to our manufacturing industry and our future. So the convergence of digital and physical technologies all require new ways of thinking and working. And if we don't prepare for the onset of Industry 4.0 today, here in Michigan, a staggering 42% of our current labor force could be impacted by automation. Next slide. So how are we taking this potential risk and turning it into an opportunity for the state to become a national leader in this space? So we've established a multi-pronged effort to support businesses along this digital transformation journey. And our ambitious goal is to ensure 50% of all Michigan manufacturers, or 6,200 businesses, will be prepared to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies by 2025. Next slide. In order to support manufacturers statewide, we've built upon our partnership with two existing leaders in this space to provide support services no matter where a company is on their journey to become Industry 4.0 ready. And you'll hear from those two leaders later on in today's discussion. Our partnership with Automation Alley is all about awareness. Automation Alley is the Industry 4.0 Knowledge Center, helping companies understand what the shift means for their business and their culture. Because of the enhanced partnership, all Michigan manufacturers have access to their education, their leadership evaluation, and resources. And to complement the work with Automation Alley, the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center is providing in-depth technology assessments for all small and medium-sized manufacturers, recommending the Industry 4.0 technologies best suited for profitability improvement and job retention for the unique business. Additionally, they are providing the opportunity for companies to see technologies firsthand through their road shows. At the same time, we will continue to address the proven lack of awareness of the impact and importance of Industry 4.0 preparedness across the state through a comprehensive paid marketing campaign, ensuring small and medium-sized manufacturers in Michigan to become better prepared for the future industry trends and growth. Next slide. So in addition to our partnership with Automation Alley and MMTC, we also wanted to support regional programming and initiatives. These regional partners are providing education, pilot grants, events, and webinars, increasing the overall awareness and preparedness of the different areas of the state. And you'll see the Manufacturing Growth Alliance as part of this group, which is why we're connecting today. So with this 5-year strategy to support manufacturers throughout the state, we are partnering, like I said, at the state level, providing consistent services available for all Michigan manufacturers. We are partnering with regional organizations, providing local opportunities to grow the industry based on targeted needs. And finally, we are executing a marketing campaign, generating awareness that we're here to support companies throughout their digital transformation. And through these partnerships, awareness, and education, we are continuing to reinforce our state's value proposition and leadership in advanced manufacturing and the jobs it supports for years to come. So for more information about the initiative, please visit michiganbusiness.org/industry4-0. And next, I will turn it over to Kristen O'Neill, Program Manager at Automation Alley, to talk about what Industry 4.0 is.
Thank you, Natalie. It is always such a pleasure to see you. Natalie and I have the opportunity to see each other pretty regularly, which is lovely. I am Kristen O'Neill. I am the program manager with Automation Alley. Hello, Southwest Michigan. I miss Grand Rapids desperately. I can't wait to come back and see you guys once things open up, and we are just thrilled to have this statewide opportunity. I want to talk to you a little bit today about what is Industry 4.0. It's this thing that we've all heard, everybody has heard it, and it's really about breaking it down and getting into that nuance of what it is, and then ultimately, how does it impact your business? Why should you care about it, and how do you move forward with it? So Industry 4.0 itself, we break down into 8 somewhat arbitrary core technologies. You'll hear 9, you'll hear 6, you'll hear 7, really doesn't matter. It's the conglomeration of all of these technologies and how they're going to work together. So the 8 that we break it down into are Industrial Internet of Things, Big Data, Cloud Computing, Artificial Intelligence, Robotics, 3D printing or additive manufacturing, Augmented and Virtual Reality, and Cybersecurity. I have to count them on my hand, so I make sure I get all 8. Again, those are somewhat arbitrary, it's a list of technologies. What is it? Industry 3.0, having a big robot on your line. Big cage, all safety stuff. Industry 4.0, that shift to Industry 4.0 is having your guy on the line and the cobot working together. And what they're doing is they're augmenting each other. So the human can do things that the cobot can't do, and the cobot can do things that the human just shouldn't do ergonomically. And figuring out how technology can augment your business and support what you already do is the crux of Industry 4.0. So we'll hear a lot of things about technology. Technology really is the mechanism. One of my favorite things I used to hear companies say, and this was, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we've got an IoT strategy. No, you got a product strategy. IoT is your mechanism to make it smarter, faster, more efficient. So it's just about reframing back into that core business model and then finding the technologies that can help you be smarter, faster, more efficient and give you a competitive advantage. Understanding your business case, understanding the business case for adding technologies and making critical thinking decisions that are fast enough that you can move with the changing pace of times is a really hard place to get to. And what we found is it is less about what technology or how many technologies companies have. And it's more about how well the company understands the core of their business and what they do, how well they create a culture of innovation where new ideas can flourish, and employees feel personally connected to the mission. They understand what they're doing and why they're doing it and how it helps within the core mission of the business. And then adding that technology, feathering the technology component so that we've got an infrastructure for knowing how that moves forward along. We hear a lot of roadblocks, a lot of barriers. Somebody made a bad software decision and now we've been burned. Nobody wants to hear that. We don't have time for it. We're too busy putting out fires. I care about throughput. I don't care about Industry 4.0. It's a flash in the pan. All of these things come down to a culture issue, a finance issue, or a technology issue. And your competitors are doing this. They are. It will create opportunities for the companies that understand how to take advantage of it. The digital transformation is coming, and there is space for everyone. It's vital that we work together. And that's why programs like this, that is a statewide initiative, and please, somebody cut me off if I'm going too long. I tend to be long-winded. I didn't check my time this time. The statewide initiative and the collaboration is what is vitally important. And that is what is going to allow Michigan and allow the manufacturers within our ecosystem to truly flourish as an entirety and as a whole unit. Nobody can do Industry 4.0 alone. It is through collaboration, it is through partnerships that we are able to all augment each other and support each other through these big, scary, transformational things. And the statewide initiatives, talking to your colleagues, talking to your customers, talking to your competitors, opening up the dialogue, opening up these conversations, and then crowdsourcing solutions is a really, really, really strong way to move forward, learning from the mistakes of the group so you don't have to make all of those mistakes yourself. So with that, I will get off my Industry 4.0 soapbox. I am just thrilled to have the opportunity to turn it over to Lance Lyons, President and CEO at Lyons Industries, and he's going to talk a little bit about their Industry 4.0 journey. Take it away, Lance.
Thanks, Kristen. My name is Lance Lyons. I run Lyons Industries in Dowagiac. We're a family-owned business. We've actually, my father and grandfather started it in 1966, and we started off with a little plumbing vent that vented the plumbing gases out of a plumbing system in a mobile home, and now we make bathtubs and showers. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Can everybody see that?
Yes, we
Looks
can
like-
see Lance. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of our journey on how we got to put in robots. And Kristen, thank you for the explanation. I know we have a lot of technology, but I didn't realize this was the 3.0 part. So this is pretty cool. We made it to 3.0. We got a ways to go to get to 4.0. What really drove us to put in automation was that making stuff with fiberglass is really hard work. When I joined the company about 24 years ago, it was hard work then, and we were very concerned if our people could keep up with it. We had trouble finding people, but we didn't realize things would get worse instead of better. And really what's driving that is a shrinking population with the baby boomers aging out of the workforce and a slowing birth rate. There just physically isn't as many people as there used to be. So what really started us on this journey of robotics and technology, unfortunately, was injuries. We had a lot of injuries back in 2012, 2013, 2014. And that's when we really had no choice but to get into robotics to take the place of people pushing and pulling carts. You're about to see something here. You just saw the robot spray, but now you're seeing all these carts move forward. We just put that part in last September, And we have the same thing, if everybody can see my cursor, we have the same thing over on this line, and that was put in 2 weeks ago. So all of this technology that you see is put in over the weekends, so we don't lose any days of production. But that was really what drove it, was this need for reducing injuries. And that's why you see the camera system we have. We've got 36 cameras throughout our plant. That was to look at what was happening when people got hurt. Now, I'm very happy to say that people aren't getting hurt anymore, and it's a much safer environment. So we've been able to transition away from using the cameras as a what happened with an accident and actually how to run the plant with it. Our plant is 135,000 square feet, and it takes about 45 minutes to really walk it from one end to the other. But with making 1,500 plus pieces a day, 45 minutes, a lot goes on. So we can look at these cameras and see different departments very quickly. The other thing that drove the technology was turnover. Back from 2012 to 2016, we had over 200% turnover. We would average about 150 to 160 people on the payroll, and we were hiring over 300 people a year. So that contributed to injuries, that contributed to frustration, and we just had to do something different. But the technology came a long way from when we first looked at it back in 2014 to today. As everybody knows, it's changing so quick, it's very difficult to keep up. So that's really what's keeping me awake at night, is can we automate fast enough to keep up with the attrition and the lack of people available to do the work. So that's a very quick overview. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them later. But I think with that, Kristen, I'll turn it back over to you to talk about leadership.
Thank you, Lance. This is the Lance and Kristen show this morning, back and forth a little bit here for a minute. I want to circle back to something Lance said, because I think there's a really, really important point specifically that he made, and it's needs drive these decisions. We've got a safety issue. We've got too many guys getting hurt, and we've got too much turnover. So the technology becomes what solves the problem. And then if you heard, he said, okay, so the safety issue got pretty well in hand. And then we could turn the cameras into the facility and figure out how we can utilize that technology to help take that next step. That philosophy, that mindset, that is what's going to allow that Industry 4.0 innovation to flourish. So here at Automation Alley, what we do is we obsess over I4O and manufacturing. I am a manufacturing nerd, have always been, will always be. I was with my 92-year-old grandmother just last night, who spent her career in quality control at Prestolite in Port Huron, testing wires. I came up in QC. This is something that we at Automation Alley are deeply, deeply passionate about, helping manufacturers connect with what will help their businesses grow and thrive, whether it's technology, services, support, whatever those things may be. We put together a variety of resources specifically for any company that manufactures in Michigan. So this would be available, all of these are available to every single company that manufactures and has a physical location in Michigan. You get access to our library of Industry 4.0 content. So Lance talked about the pace of change of this technology. It is lightning fast. I can't keep up with it. None of us can keep up with it. And this is all I do every day. I don't even have to worry about production, right? There are opportunities for you to get little bite-sized pieces that break it down so that you can do that quick little vetting and say, okay, is this something that I have to care about now? Or is this a down the road project? Case studies, webinars, things like that within that Library of Knowledge Center. You also will have access to our essential membership. So we've created an entirely new free membership level, again, available to any Michigan manufacturer. It'll get you digital access to not only our services, but also digital access to the website, some of the back-end stuff. It is free. There is no charge. All you have to do is go in and sign up. And then we say, hey, do you make something? Are you in Michigan? Cool, you're in. Super, super simple. One of the pieces of content that we have is the Technology and Industry Report. You guys may or may not have seen this. We've done a research-driven report for about 4 years now. This might be the 5th year. Heavy research, heavy academia, big, thick case studies from industry, and then takeaways, key takeaways. So it really is a roadmap for what's going to be coming down the pipeline in 3 years that you might want to prepare for, that you might want to keep an awareness of, and be looking for some information now so that you're prepared when that technology does come down. The fantastic thing, one of the fantastic things I should say, that's included with the Essential membership is a free ticket to Integrate. So Integrate this year, if you don't know, now you know. It is a full day, deep dive, Industry 4.0 nerd fest. It's awesome. There's keynotes, there's all sorts of breakout sessions on all of these technologies. There's expos. MMTC does this really, really cool immersive experience. We bring all of our partners together. The MEDC is a massive partner within this initiative, and we'll help all of our regional partners there too. So it's a chance to, along with things like the roadshow that the MMTC is doing, where they bring technology to you, and Mark will go into that in a little bit. Integrate's a way for you to get hands on this stuff. Figure it out, meet new people, have these conversations, and push to that next level of what might spark your innovation over the next 6 to 12 months. So again, one free in-person ticket. It's in Detroit, October 19th. Y'all are in front of your calendars right now. Mark it, October 19th. We'd love to see you there. Additional tickets are available as well. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the leadership evaluation. And this is a brand new thing that we created just for this particular initiative. The leadership evaluation, you're going to get a link when you sign up for Essential membership. So you get a link, it has your login. Hey, go on, get access to the membership itself, and then you'll have a link to the leadership evaluation. Take it on your phone. It's a survey. It's really designed to be mobile optimized. It's designed for you to be able to take it pretty quick. And then what it does is in real time, it takes all of the information that you've submitted about your business, about the kind of the general overview, the state of the business as it is now. It compares it in real time to our growing and aggregating data set of all of the manufacturers in Michigan. And then it gives you a comparative analysis on how you rate in comparison, how you relate in comparison, where you're at in comparison to this large data set of manufacturers. So the nitty gritty and the algorithms at the back end are really just designed to give you, where am I today compared to everybody else in the state? And then where do I need to go? What steps do I need to take? What are my suggestions going to be from here? So I really recommend everybody take that leadership evaluation, sign up for your Essential membership. It's very simple to do. Again, all you have to do is go to michiganbusiness.org/industry4-0. Again, that's michiganbusiness.org/industry4-0. You'll see a link to the leadership evaluation. You'll see a link to the Essential membership. And we are very excited to get everybody in and get everybody access to as much content as we can and as much service and support as we can. So with that, I will turn it over to Mark Gettle, Business Solutions Manager at the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, MMTC. He's going to talk a little bit about the MMTC Opportunity Assessment and how their really deep manufacturing expertise can help you connect these digital transformation dots. So with that, I will hand it over to Mark.
Thank you, Kristen. And also thank you so much, Jen, for allowing us to be a part of this. We really value our partnerships with the MEDC and Automation Alley and EGI. And we really want to work together and bring impactful results to our manufacturers. My name is Mark Gettle, and I'm the Business Solutions Manager for the Southwest Michigan Region 8, otherwise it's known as Region 8, and that goes from Coldwater to Albion to South Haven to Niles. I reside in Kalamazoo and I call on about 1,400 manufacturers. My elevator speech for the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center is that we help small to medium-sized manufacturers prosper and grow through consultative training support and market research and growth strategies, operational excellence initiatives, leadership development, and manufacturing process skills training. We are embedded in the local manufacturing community. As I mentioned, I live in Kalamazoo, yet we leverage our national network of expertise through the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Our partially funded status allows us to provide premium world-class delivery of services at lower rates. As I said, we're partially funded both by the federal government as well as the state through the MEDC. And recently the MEDC has increased our funding to help pay for, or actually to pay for 100% of these technology opportunity assessments. We have a commitment with the MEDC statewide to perform 300 of these assessments by the end of September, and we're well on our way, but we still need your help in having you sign up and participating in this initiative. The technology opportunity assessment is a 40-question. It's composed of 40 questions. And it's broken down into four categories. Strategy, and one of the questions in the strategy bucket is, what is the role of employees in the improvement of products, processes, and services? The next is the infrastructure. And the question for that is, what is the availability of computers and information to the employee? Third is information systems. What is the process for closing the month and how long does it take? And fourth, it's operations. Another question is, how do you schedule your operations? Now, these 40 questions in these four categories are stratified into three different buckets. In other words, we ask the same question and get it answered for, we ask the question and it's stratified into four different areas. Voice of business, voice of customer. That is, what is the industry that you exist in expecting of you as it relates to Industry 4.0 technology? An example of that I'll give is I have a client in Stevensville that serves the automotive industry, and their ultimate OEM is Toyota. And Toyota has made the mandate all the way down through the supply chain that they have barcoding for all their work in process inventory, so they don't have any supply chain interruption. So that's an example of what is going on in the industry. So what is your industry and what is your business requiring of you to be up to date with Industry 4.0 technologies? The second area is your hardware, your technology that you have in the facility. What types of machines do you have? How current are they? Are they censored or not? And then the third area is your systems. What kind of processes do you have in place? Are you collecting data? Number one, are you collecting it electronically, or is it by paper, or how is it communicated throughout the plant? And we score each of these three in a 10, 5, 1. And what this does is within these four areas, it takes an average of those three, and it sets where we identify there are gaps between what your industry is expecting of you and where you are today with regard to your degree of technology with your processes as well as your hardware. And from that, we develop a series of recommendations that we feel that where your gaps are and how we might be able to improve. And that might even just include us coming back and helping you support a lean initiative or an organization doing 5S, so you get prepared for being able to collect data and start on that path of Industry 4.0 technology. The interesting thing about this is this assessment is a snapshot of where you are. We have companies that are very early into this progression, and we have companies that are far along the path. And what it does is it either validates where you're at, but it also might identify some areas that you didn't even think of where you saw a gap in your technology versus what the voice of business and voice of customer is asking. Another facet of this assessment is we ask you 28 different metrics, and examples of those are, what is your scrap in dollars? What are your number of schedule changes, otherwise known as schedule bumping? Third is, on-time delivery. What's your on-time delivery percentage? And what we do is we take those 28 metrics and we dump it into a database to your peers and stratify those into an area where your company is relative to everybody else. So with that, what I found is we need to work at trying to collect this this data and then stratify and bring it back to you so we can compare and show where you're at and where the low hanging fruit is. Also, if you want to sign up for this or participate in this, we ask that you can either contact me directly. My email is mgettel, spelled Gettel, at the-center.org, or you can go direct to our portal, which is medcleads at the-center.org. Either way, we'll bring you, communicate with you and get started with the scheduling the technology assessment. Lastly, I'd like to mention that we are partnering up with HECO as well as Perceptive Controls for their RPM symposium that they have every year at the Kalamazoo Air Museum. And that's going to be September 15th and September 16th. And we're partnering up with them and going to have our road show in Kalamazoo at the Air Museum on the 16th and 17th. So look on our website in the future so you can sign up for that. And that's at no charge. It's going to have keynote speakers we will be presenting, as well as other sponsors of the show. With that, I'd like to pass it along to Stephanie Ludwig, Project Manager for Economic Growth Institute at the University of Michigan. Take it away, Stephanie.
Thanks, Mark. Can we go to the next slide, please? So good morning, everyone. I am Stephanie Ludwig, a project manager at the Economic Growth Institute, or EGI, at the University of Michigan. EGI has been working with small to medium-sized manufacturers across the state of Michigan for more than 35 years, and we are thrilled to be here today partnering with MGA in one of the regional Industry 4.0 efforts Natalie mentioned earlier to support small manufacturers in Southwest Michigan in increasing awareness and preparedness of Industry 4.0. So through a series of activities, including educational webinars, company analysis, and technical assistance projects, MGA and EGI will work to ensure manufacturers in Southwest Michigan have the foundational and practical knowledge to move forward with implementing elements of Industry 4.0 to ensure that they remain competitive in the years to come. In all of our history of running programs to support SMMs, what gets your attention most is when there is funding available to help you. In our regional program, we will qualify a limited number of companies with high potential projects for a $10,000 grant in matching funds towards the implementation of one of the identified Industry 4.0 projects. Next slide. So next, I'd like to tell you a little more about what activities we will be running in this regional program that can help prepare you to best utilize that $10,000. Next slide. So first, through a series of educational webinars, we will look to introduce you all to Industry 4.0 technologies that we have seen many of our manufacturing clients successfully implement and prove effective. Here you will learn about real-world applications for manufacturers just like yourself and be connected to resources to support next steps in evaluating if these technologies could be the resource you are looking for to address the current need or to set your company apart from its competition. Next slide. After you get a chance to listen to these educational webinars, you might find yourself asking, how do I know if my company is ready to implement some of these technologies? In phase 2 of the MGA-EGI regional partnership, EGI will conduct the top-down analysis of the company. So after signing a non-disclosure agreement to ensure your company's data is protected and excluded from the Freedom of Information Act, EGI will conduct a detailed financial analysis of the company, including a ratio analysis and company valuation. Have you ever wondered what your company would be valued at? EGI's analysis will not only help you to better understand its value, but this analysis allows us to see into the company's stability and strength and financial aptitude to handle and integrate these new technologies. So for companies that have that financial stability and aptitude, EGI will then conduct an operational analysis to further evaluate other areas of the business critical to tech integration while we're touring your facility. This will include leadership, sales, planning, marketing, people, operation, all that good stuff. Both the financial and operational analysis are done at no cost to you and with very minimal time commitment. EGI's output of phase 2 is a leveled set recommendation to increase the firm's value and recommendations for high leverage points of Industry 4.0 adoption that will be recommended as implementation projects to use that $10,000 on. Next slide. To implement the high leverage point Industry 4.0 projects, our team will find the best resources for you to implement the project and will project manage its implementation alongside with your team. If you are interested in qualifying for that $10,000, please contact us to talk about what those next steps look like. Next slide. With that, we are looking forward to engaging with all of those of you on the information session today and in the near future. And now I will turn this over to Christine Bowman from the Albion EDC, who will talk about the regional partnerships.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Jen for inviting me to be here this morning. Obviously, I'm having some technical issues because my video is not coming up, at least on my end. But anyway, yeah, thanks again, Jen, for inviting us to participate this morning. The Albion Economic Development Corporation, we are the lead economic development organization in the Albion area. We're responsible for business retention and attraction. We also get involved because of the size of our community. We get involved in quite a few community development initiatives, including housing. And recently, we've also taken on more of a role in entrepreneurial development in our community. Next slide, please. So, of course, as we've talked the whole way along here, we can't do what we all do without partners. And I know I certainly can't in my little corner of the world. So just want to take a moment here to recognize those involved in the Southwest Michigan Industry 4.0. We've got Michigan Works Southwest, MEDC, the University of Michigan Economic Growth Institute, obviously MGA, Automation Alley, Cornerstone Alliance, Connexus Group, Market Van Buren, Michigan Works in Cass, Berrien, and Van Buren counties, Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center that we heard from earlier, Southwest Michigan First, Branch County Economic Growth Alliance, and Battle Creek Unlimited. So why is 4.0 critical to small manufacturers? What I'm seeing is many of the things that Lance echoed in his comments earlier, particularly around the attrition issue, and also have an aging population in our area. So our manufacturers are very keenly aware that that is impacting their staffing levels and will continue to for the future. And we've got a lot of small manufacturers here in our community that have that growth opportunity, but that labor and skill shortage is going to continue to be an issue for them. And so Industry 4.0 really gives them an opportunity to seize those opportunities actually and be able to take advantage of those and grow their business. You know, I like to think about this like people talk about, you know, children. You don't discipline a 2-year-old the way you do a 12-year-old. And I think our manufacturers and our businesses have to understand that, you know, the way that we did things 10 years ago, we can't do those things the same way now and remain competitive in the business world. And Industry 4.0 certainly gives them a leg up to be able to continue to do that. So with that, I will turn it back over to Jen.
Thank you so much for sharing, Christine. We really appreciate it. So I get to share with you some next steps that we're recommending for small to medium manufacturers. First and foremost, we recommend that you participate in the Industry 4.0 webinars that are coming up. The first educational webinar for Southwest Michigan manufacturers is scheduled for July 1 at 9 a.m. The webinar will share insights on advanced technologies such as AR, VR, analytics, and additive manufacturing. We also encourage you to take advantage of the 2 statewide resources that you heard about during our conversation today. And that is the leadership evaluation from Automation Alley and the technology opportunity assessments from the Michigan Manufacturing and Technology Center. Also, we encourage you to consider having a conversation with NGA and EGI about the $10,000 grant matching funds to implement Industry 4.0 technologies. Again, we'll send out the slide deck and a recording of this conversation. So you'll have links to all of the resources that we've mentioned during our conversation. So we've reached the point where we have an opportunity to look at questions from those who are participating. So please include any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. So I am going to go to some of these open questions, and then Lance, there's some additional questions I want to toss out to you as well. So I think this first one, Natalie, thank you for saying you'd like to answer it. So Natalie, at least if you could start answering this question. And if any of our other panelists would like to answer any of the questions, please feel free to respond. Talent is one of the biggest needs right now. What is the state doing alongside the Industry 4.0 initiative to support, we'll say, reskilling of the workforce and be able to, so that they are able to operate new technologies? Natalie?
Yeah, that is a great question, and one that we get all the time. First of all, we are so fortunate here in the state with a highly skilled workforce. We rank top 10 in the nation, and we have the highest concentration of engineers in the country. I think, for any company right now, the biggest challenge is talent and using the workforce that you have effectively. And I think that's what Industry 4.0 is all about, is, how to use the finite resources of your skilled workforce and having them do the work that requires their human attention, we'll say. So in regards to what the state is doing, so here in Michigan, Governor Whitmer has made it a top priority for her administration. She laid out a statewide goal to increase the number of Michiganders with post-secondary credentials to 60% by 2030. And this will help us build that talent infrastructure that we already have in the state, and provide companies with the confidence that Michigan has the workforce that they need. Additionally, we have programs like the My Reconnect program, which is a workforce development initiative that creates a tuition-free pathway for Michiganders to receive in-demand industry certificates or associate degrees. And we are already working to both anticipate and fill the skills gap that exists in our talent pipeline to prepare for Industry 4.0. One other thing that's kind of coming soon is our regional talent and innovation grants, kind of similarly to what we've been doing for Industry 4.0, where we have the regional grantees. We've done an RFP, and we will be doing $7.5 million in funding to support local economic development organizations across the state and workforce development partners across the state to do competitive training pilot programs in their regions. So these funds will go to, while these aren't necessarily specific to Industry 4.0, I know a lot of the proposals that we've received are about reskilling and training, because that is definitely a huge need that we're hearing from our manufacturers. And one other, program that I want to mention is the Michigan STEM Forward program. This is in partnership with Ann Arbor Spark, and they're doing a statewide initiative to place about 450 STEM students currently attending Michigan colleges into STEM-focused internships. throughout the state. So that is just another program that is just trying to make sure that we retain the talent that we have, and we're getting them in the industry and getting them trained for the issues and the challenges that you face in your manufacturing facilities. So I'm sure there's others that want to chime in on this topic. I know I've already covered a lot, but I'm happy to provide any additional information. Please feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you have questions on any of those programs that I mentioned.
Great, thank you, Natalie. So the next question we'll toss out to Lance, and I believe the question in the Q&A was, what are your plans for what's next on your Industry 4.0 journey? What new technologies? And I see that you typed in a nice response, but if you could share that with us, that would be fantastic.
Sure. So back to our need to reduce injuries. I'm going to try to share my screen again, if that's okay. Let's see where this is something we're working on right now, and it is a mobile robot to move bathtubs from where they get packaged to build the order. We stack bathtubs 5 tall on a skid. So right now that's done with somebody lifting the bathtub over their head and carrying it to up to 100 feet away to place it on top of the skid. And if they're doing that 200 times a shift, that's quite a strain on their back and shoulders. So this is our next area that we're going after. These mobile robots are smart. They don't need any magnetic paint or any pre-programmed routes. They do it through vision and radar. So we hope to have this first one that you see here in place by the end of October. We're also putting in a new vacuum former. Vacuum formers, let's see if I can, oops, wrong one. Let me get to the right. I'm not sure if everybody can see that, but we start by vacuum forming a piece of plastic, heating it up in an oven, putting it over a mold, and turning on the vacuum, and it creates the shell. So currently we use, and you can see all these gauges here. These are individual gas gauges that go to one particular oven. We have about 80 of these in one of these formers. The technology nowadays, all these are computer controlled. So we have to catch up with that technology and put those in. So to put one of these in, you need to dig a pit.
In Lance, I'm sorry, to interrupt. We're not able to see.
Oh.
We saw the autonomous robot
Sorry.
transporting tubs.
Can you see that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so the vacuum former I was talking about is right here. We vacuum form these shells, then we put the fiberglass on it. So you can see it come out of the oven right now. The mold's coming up, and the part is starting to form around the mold. But these individual gas gauges, it's really hard for the operator to get every heater set just right because he doesn't know temperature. He only knows gas pressure. Well, with the new technology, there'll be temperature settings. There'll be 120 different heaters that can be controlled. One operator can run both sides, and it's going in this pit here. So that should be in place hopefully by the end of August. We're also doing a dense storage system. I'll try to show you another shot here. All these support fixtures that are online right now, if we don't need them, they're stored over in this part of the plant. It's kind of hard to see. We need to make more room to put in more vacuum formers. So we're creating a dense storage system that will be in this area here that will use a giant robotic arm to take the tops of the carts and the middle of the carts on and off. We're also putting in another robotic arm down in this section of the plant. It'll go right here. This will be for our whirlpools. Right now, to make a whirlpool, you have to take a hole saw, drill 12 holes and cut out holes in the apron for access. And that's very hard work, but with a robot, it'll be a lot more fun because you get to run a robot instead of having to suit up in a respirator and a drill and do all that work physically. Some of the things behind the scenes that you can't see are a scheduling program. Of course, with all the technology, you have to have internet and software behind it. So we have a dedicated software programmer that's reprogramming how we schedule production. For 20 years, we've scheduled production on basically a high-powered Excel spreadsheet. And it worked, but not great, not to integrate everything that we need to take care of our customers as quickly as we need to. I think those are the major ones that we're doing. We're trying to get that done in the next 18 months here. I would like to circle back on one other thing before I go off and to go back to Kristen's comment about culture. That was a huge portion of what made all of this possible is we had to change our culture. We had to change our mindset. That we really had to take care of our people. We had to stop these injuries. We had to make the work easier. And that started at the top with me and the board of directors, that we were committed to doing that and ultimately best serving our people, best serves our customers. And that culture change is ultimately what made all of this possible and continues to drive it. Thank you.
Jen, I've got a question for Lance, if I can interject.
Absolutely.
Lance, I assume that you do an ROI calculation when you look at your capital expenditure for technology. What do you feel is an average or acceptable length of time for payback on your capital expenditures for technology?
That's a great question. In the beginning, we looked at it at 3 to 5 years, but we found that really we saw most of the payback within 18 or 16 months to 2 years. And in the case of the robots, they actually paid themselves off in less than a year. So that's of course a question that your bank and your finance people love to ask, but sometimes it's very difficult to answer it. You just don't know what the technology is going to do until you put it in. And I don't know if we've been incredibly lucky or incredibly good or a combination of both, but we've actually seen a lot faster ROI than you would predict on paper.
That's what we're experiencing and why I brought it up. You know, it's a convergence of the technology coming down in price, and there are things you probably can't or don't take into consideration that you do gain that actually helps speed up that ROI. But your answer of 18 months is becoming more of the norm. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we have a few additional questions. Thank you so much, Lance. So appreciate you sharing your journey with us on the call. The question I'd like to toss out, looks like Kristen would like to answer it, and I think we've discussed it a little bit, is how have manufacturers navigated the perception that technology will replace available jobs? Kristen?
Well, I have the incredible fortune of Lance having given us a perfect example of what that perception can be. I think the current idea that the technology is going to come in and replace our jobs is starting to fall by the wayside. I think we're starting to hear more companies engage with, okay, maybe there's a benefit here, maybe we can do this, or maybe we can add in parts. But here's what it comes down to. It's more fun. It's more fun to work with a robot than stick a respirator on when it's 95 degrees and you are hot and sweaty and covered in fiberglass dust. right? So that perception of they are taking jobs, technology changes jobs. It takes away some of that hauling and lifting of bathtubs and moving them 100 feet that we have to do. So it can take away some of those components. And then it can augment and add in some new fun things like programming a robot or a CNC machine. It's super duper fun. And to be able to give an employee who hasn't necessarily had hands-on with technology an opportunity to engage with this stuff could spark in them something that can transform your business. That's the other piece of it is the ROI of the technology and then the ROI of the people. Because as you pair those two, it becomes exponentially more valuable and beneficial. And you learn, and that innovation really starts to grow and flourish. So I think it's that double-sided ROI is what we're hearing a lot. And we're hearing that as that perception shifts and as they get technology in-house and hands-on and have that very small initial proof of concept, that's what really transforms things. So we're working really hard to help companies get a very small use case, a very small proof of concept, an initial engagement, hands-on technology. And that often is what unlocks the entire perception of what technology can be for the company. So I'm sure we have others who want to jump in on that too. So I will turn it over to the rest, but great question. Thank you for bringing that up. That's one we hear all the time.
Do any of the other panelists would like to respond to that question? Okay, looking at the time, I think we're going to go ahead and close out today's session. I'll show my video here. There we go. Just want to again thank our panelists for joining us, and especially Lance for you sharing your Industry 4.0 journey. It looks like you have an amazing journey that you're currently in, and that you plan to move forward in the next, I think you said maybe 18 months. So thank you for sharing that. We hope that the informational session provided our manufacturers with new insights into Michigan's Industry 4.0 initiative. Please consider taking one of the next steps we discussed today. All of us on the webinar are here to support small to medium manufacturers throughout your journey, not just take the opportunity assessment or the leadership evaluation or engage with the webinars and the analysis. We're here to support you throughout your journey of adopting Industry 4.0 technologies. This recording and slide deck will be sent out to those who registered for today's session. Please feel free to share the content with anyone on your team or other manufacturers that you know of in the Southwest region. Another big thank you to our presenters. And with that, I am going to close out for today, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week.